Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about exposure therapy. This is a phrase where you have to conquer a fear. You don't want to just tackle the fear head on. Instead, you just gradually expose yourself to the fear. Nothing radical. You just gradually do things. And there have been a couple of times that I have witnessed exposure therapy work. I know it works because it helped me overcome my fear of dogs. Cynophobia. You know what that is? That is an intense fear of dogs, and I used to have cynophobia. I couldn't stand dogs. And it would annoy me when people would say, dogs are a man's best friend. If you like dogs, it seems like a cute, cuddly creature. But if you're afraid of dogs, these animals, they look like beasts. I didn't like dogs at all. There was this one uncle that I had that one time got a Chihuahua, and I recall we went to his house for a party, and a bunch of the kids were playing with this Chihuahua. But me and my brother, we both had cynophobia, so we did not play with the Chihuahua. Eventually, some of the kids began to make fun of us. They were like, "Look how big you two are, and look how tiny this Chihuahua is. Come on, guys, just pet it." I couldn't though. For some reason, I was just too scared. Every single time I was getting close to it, I would just move away. Later on in that party, I recall a bunch of guys were getting food, and as we were all about to walk into this one room to eat the food, I noticed that the door to the patio area was open. The Chihuahua was on the other side of the door. I could see it. It was a glass door, and the Chihuahua was just hanging out. I thought, this vicious animal should be going through the door because it was opened, and the dog should be biting the humans, right? Because it's so vicious. But it wasn't doing that. It was just chilling. So what I do is I sneak my head outside the door. The dog, it's still chilling. I stick one leg out, the other leg out. Eventually, my entire body is out. I'm getting closer and closer and closer to the Chihuahua. The Chihuahua is still just chilling. I give my palm. I get closer, closer, closer. And I begin petting it. It looks at me and allows me to pet it. At that moment, I somewhat overcame my fear of dogs, but I wasn't quite there yet. Years went on by, and eventually there was this one time when I moved into this house in Virginia, and a lot of other trainees were staying in this house. There was this dog, which I was terrified of. I would never want to chill with this dog. The way that Virginia houses work is that there's a basement, which is technically the first floor, a second floor, and a third floor. I was in the basement, and I would stay in the basement until late at night, the dog and all the other humans, they went to the top floor. And that is when I would go to the second floor, and I would make my meals. I would center my entire day around not seeing the dog. Time went on by, and one day I was really sick, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. That dog that I was so scared of knew that I was sick and homesick. It came downstairs, something that it never did, and it just hung out next to me. I was getting more and more exposed to the dog. And after those two experiences, I slowly but surely overcame my fear of dogs. And nowadays, if there's a dog running around, I am not remotely scared. This strategy of overcoming the fear of dogs, I've seen someone apply this same strategy with public speaking. There are people that are scared to come to their first ever Toastmasters meeting, and that's completely normal. So do exposure therapy. And by the way, you could change exposure therapy into levels. break it down into unique levels to overcome the fear. So to overcome a fear like public speaking, going to Toastmasters, rather than immediately giving a speech, what you can do is for level 1, you find a Toastmasters near you. You are exposing yourself to the fear of public speaking by introducing Toastmasters into your life. For level 2, what you can do is narrow it down to 3 clubs and go to the one that is closest to you. Level 3, you go inside the meeting and you simply get a flyer. Level 4, you actually attend a meeting. Level 5, you begin to talk to different members within the meeting. And level 6, you raise your hand and you volunteer to give a table topics speech. It took you 6 levels of exposing yourself to public speaking to actually speak publicly. So exposing yourself to a fear is a gradual way to overcome the fear. This is way different than tackling the fear head on, where if you want to tackle the fear head on, I recommend you just give a speech in your first ever meeting. You go to the meeting, the table topics master is like, who wants to give a talk? And your hand just shoots up. Not everyone is capable of doing that though. So it is perfectly fine to do exposure therapy and gradually overcome the fear. Because when you look back at it, it doesn't matter how you overcame the fear as long as you overcame it. So exposing yourself to these fears is a gradual way for your nervous system to realize that it is not in danger. And when you look back at it, you're going to be happy that you conquered your inner demons. Thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. And if you want more insights like this into emotional intelligence, be sure to go on ArmaniTalks.com/newsletter and sign up for my free daily newsletter. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will catch you next time.